Dear brothers, it's about quality, not quantity.
So guys, it should be your conversation, the way you flow, your presence is enough for a woman to want to be around you, not how much money you spend.
Dear sisters, it's about knowing your value.
My sisters out there, don't be afraid to scare a guy off just because you have standards.
Dear brothers, dear sisters, it's time to come together.
All right, my people, welcome back to the most mature podcast out there. I'm your host, Jamel Lawrence, author, relationship advisor, and I'm here with my brother, author, accountability coach, Carl. What's going on, my man?
Not much, brother. Long week. Glad it's over. New week, new goals, new challenges, new things, and keep moving.
New challenges, keep them moving. And they set the time back, but it still feels like I am moving in slow motion. But listen, I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. We are live on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitch, you name it. Thank you all for joining us on this beautiful evening. And to those who are watching right now on YouTube, listen, make sure you hit that subscription button so that way you can be notified of our upcoming shows and you'll be able to watch some previous shows that have meaningful conversations. And Carl, you know I love to collect books, especially books related to self-development, which is why your project title, You Say You Love Me, But Do You Respect Me, is such a great read, man. Such a great read. And my brother, before we talk about today's show, tell us a little bit more about your book.
It's simply from a male perspective. I had some amazing brothers. We collaborated to do this. It just gets, I always tell people men prefer, they know they love when they're respected. And it really just deals with a bunch of different topics in each area, how respect looks in those particular areas from a male perspective. Let me put it this way. I guess I'll use the term real man, since everybody's
we're not androids, man.
But yeah, right. We're not AIs, whatever. But this is from a grown man perspective, mature males, married men, men who have been married for a long period of time, different relationships, and who have experience in these areas, to put this information out there. And it's good for brothers to read an understanding how they should, not demand the respect, but what real healthy respect looks like. And then for women understanding, so they can better understand men's insight and thought process. Because I always hear a lot of times from women, we don't express ourselves a lot. And this is a chance where we were expressive, vulnerable, and everything that we shared to put this project out. So definitely pick it up. If you hit me on the link that's on the bottom to take a go on a course, you get an autographed book. So it's definitely worth the read and definitely something worth adding to the collection.
Man, that's what I like to hear, my brother. I mean, the thing is, what I like about the book is sometimes when you go through the first portion, thank you, my people, thank you. When you go through the first portion, you pick up nuggets around the way. But right now, I am constantly rereading the books because the second time around, when you go through those pages, all of a sudden you pick up something else that you can apply and add to your life and add to that mental inventory. So I just want to congratulate you on your success, the book itself, and I think it's doing great, man. Shout out to the other writers that participate in it. Jason Williams, David Jackson, just to name a few.
Appreciate it.
But they're absolutely, my brother. But another key factor that I noticed with the book is the title. One thing that stuck out from the title is respect, right? And I think when men hear that word and sisters start to understand that more, respect to me, it makes a man feel more masculine. And this means his natural instincts will automatically trigger for him to be organic, to make his woman feel even more special. So to those who want a copy of your book and to get other nuggets within the pages, man, where can they purchase this book, my man?
Yeah, if you go to www.coachingwithcarl.com, again, www.coachingwithcarl.com. Again, you can order the book directly from there. If you want an autographed copy, there are some ebooks Also on there, if you want to order the ebook version of it, if you want to just do the digital read, you won't get an autographed copy, but you'll definitely get a digital read. With that, you can order that, and link will be sent to you. You can load it to your Kindle or whatever device you use to read your ebooks on there.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about, man. Such a great book. Thank you for sharing that, my brother. Nicely said. And my brother, listen, my sister's respect, from my perspective, is the most important element for a man in any relationship. And currently, if you have that respect, trust me, that brother will go through brick walls. He will do whatever it takes when his woman shows that respect. So please get that book. Also, I promise you that today's show is going to be fire, man. It's very digestible. And I want to use the word, Carl, influential, which is the perfect segue for today's show title, the impact of social media influencers, which I'm really looking forward to. So what you think about this topic, my brother?
It's I'm looking forward to it. I really going to be a dynamite show. When we start talking about social media influencers and just the way we'll break down things differently. Because I don't even like being called an influencer, and it comes with the territory. It's a new term everybody uses. I don't like it, but I also understand I have to bear weight of my responsibility of what I say, how I carry myself, and just what I put out there. I have to practice what I preach when I'm out there. So when you're an influencer, especially when it comes to the relationship world. So this is going to be interesting tonight. It really will be.
Yeah, absolutely, my man. And by the way, special shout out to Natima, and Natima and my sister Mel, who of course we're going to bring in momentarily. But before we do so, and I'm very excited to share about this show, one thing I want to state, that social media influencers and the impact that they have can bring a whole wide range of different perspectives, and also it can change your ability on how you think. It can expand on your values that you already have. And those that have that circle of influence, in which pretty much explains that a proactive focus is basically putting things in your own control, and you exert your positive energy based on what you created, based on your belief. And the more you expand that, the more that your circle of concern shrinks. And I learned that by reading the seven habits for highly effective people. But one person that is definitely a huge social media influencer is my brother Keith Lee. And I'll go ahead and put his picture up if people don't know who he is. This man right here is currently causing an uproar in Atlanta, if people are not aware of this. And the thing is that he's a great example of a social media influencer based on his critique and what kind of foods he eat and how he's being treated at the restaurant. But just to switch gears back to relationship influencers, do you think, and just save your fire for the show, but just to share a little sneak peek, do you think social media influencers are helping the situation when it comes to relationships, or do you think they're creating more of a divide in today's relationship climate?
I'm gonna say it this way, and we can jump into it. It just depends on who you're listening to. I feel like the ones that are just playing the blame game. I'll say this way: broke clock is right twice a day. So you have someone to play the blame game that may be right occasionally.
Right.
And then you need to really look for those that are trying to unify things. But we bear responsibility as people too, and understanding who we're listening to and what we're taking in. So, like I said again, there are enough, I think, division coming out of there, but we have to take what we can that applies to us and use it properly if it's healthy. And we'll talk more about that as we go tonight.
Okay. Like that, man. Listen, man, you guys are in for a treat. That's all I got to say about that. So, well said, my brother. And so let's not keep the people waiting in the studio, man. So you ready to bring our guests into the studio?
Let's bring our two amazing sisters in. I know they're ready.
Absolutely, man. I know they're ready, man. So our first guest coming back into the DBDS Live studio is a sister who's, great at motivating people. She's a mentor. She's an amazing mother, and she is the host, the original host of the DBDS Queen Takeover. And by the way, which is coming back Sunday, December 10th. So make sure you mark that on your calendar. I want to welcome back my great sister Natima, the DBDS Live.
Hey, family.
What's going on, sis?
Hey, what's going on, my sister?
I'm doing
I know you was
good.
back there listening to.
I said, I got permission from Carl earlier in the week. I can say what I want, and he got my back. So, no gloves tonight. Gloves are off.
No gloves tonight.
No gloves.
That's what I like to hear, my sister.
Yeah.
All right. So tell the people a little bit about yourself, where you from, and why you're on the show today.
All right, thank you. Hey, family. Hey, to all my
Yes,
gems and
sister.
gents. How y'all doing? I'm Natima Cherie, Queen Pen of Transparent Gem Inc. and the Diamond Writers. I am also one of the original queens of the DBDS Queen Takeover. I run a boutique consultancy where I help BIPOC writers, aspiring and established writers, to publish books and navigate the indie publishing world. It is not easy, but I believe that if we release our stories, we release trauma in the same vein. And so that is what I'm here to do. I also oversee the Diamond Writers. That is my community of women writers. I am the anthologist and compiler of almost 4 books now, but I am the author of 5 books. And so that is just a little bit about me.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's what I love
appreciate it.
to
So
hear,
glad
my
to be here. Thank you.
Listen, and one thing that I want to let the people know, man, Natima, she just been so gracious to bless us with her presence by sharing the knowledge, been hosting all the Queen Takeovers. Listen, Natima, we're playing catch up. Carl and I, we're on our 4th or 5th King Takeover. You guys are like at 11, 10. I mean, this is going to be like your 10th or 11th one.
This is our 10th one. Yeah, this is our 10th one. Yeah.
What is going on, man?
You give us the permission slip, and we out here. Mel, we really want to partner with you in making love and healthy relationships dope again, right? Loyalty and monogamy. We want those things to be dope again. And so if we can address the women, and we can sit the women down and say, all right, sis, listen, men ain't in the room. It's just us. Let's talk. Let's converse. Let's dialogue. Let's really get the help that we need, because really a lot of women are still single because of mindset. It has nothing to do with lack of men and, men not being available. It's our mindset. We're not positioning ourselves to meet the men that we say we want to date and marry. And so if we can help them, when I get the professor and I get Uncle Soulbird and I get Mel and I get all the ladies, we just want to help. So that's why we coming back with number 10. Take over number 10.
Man. Listen, before I bring my sister Mel into the studio, because she was on the Queen Takeover, just by the way, Denise's going to be available. Got her. Mia's going to be available. Tanisha, you got you. Listen, they're going to kill it. That's going to be your Christmas gift, December 10th, my people. Okay? So... So next coming into the DBDS Live studio is my sister, who is, she is such a great person to be around with. She's an entrepreneur. She's also part of the Diamond Writers and always speaks her mind. So I want to welcome back my great sister, Mel, to the DBDS Live studio.
Hey fam, how y'all doing?
What's going on, Mel?
What's
going
up?
Thanks
on,
for having
Mel?
me back. It's a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Absolutely. So there's more people coming into the DBDS Live studio. So tell the people a little bit about yourself, where you from, and why you're on the show today.
Absolutely. So it's your girl Mel V. Originally from New York, currently in South Florida. I am the owner and founder of Her the MVP Management, where I do talent management, event management, and brand management. So helping people take their dreams, build it up, and then we watch it grow. I'm also the executive director of operations for the Diamond Writers, co-host of the Hustle and Shine podcast. I'm a chef, 4-time, almost 5-time author, public speaker, just out here trying to help the people be their best selves.
Wow, man, that's what I like to hear. That is simply amazing. And I always truly believe, just one of my caveats I want to add on to the show, that whenever you put your passionate, positive thoughts out there and the way you help people, I think the blessings come back 10 times fold automatically, you know. So what you and the team is doing is tremendous. You know, you are the definition of queens, and we're so ecstatic to have you both back on. Right?
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Props to my sister Natima, you know, my Capricorn sister.
So listen, we are ready to get this show started. So again, we are talking about the impact of social media influencers. And the first subtopic that we're going to touch on is, and this is a great topic right here, are they causing a bigger divide in relationships? So let me go ahead and pull up the ticker. And I think it's about that time to have this amazing conversation that we need. And I know you, my people, you bopping your head to the music in the background. Great music. But we're going to now just bristle that down just a little. And so my thing is, from my perspective, I view this as two sides of the same coin, where, listen, we have a variety of different social media influencers who, in my opinion, just to freestyle, I think they possess the ability to shape and mold their perspective on the public. You know, in other words, they are opinion leaders, right? And my thing is, depending on your values as well as your beliefs and who you are as a person, you will gravitate towards those certain opinion leaders, right? Which will further expand your belief. But I also believe there are so many, and I mean, my people, so many opposing views out there from different social media influencers. And then you have to think about the combination of our culture, right? In my personal opinion, I think it is causing a further divide, you know, because there are more social media influencers that talk about unhealthy dynamic structures, in my opinion, which I think is further in dividing us. For example, putting materialism before character focus, or talking about being bad all by yourself, or men encouraging that you will never have your definite counterpart. She's just your turn until the next man comes along. I mean, it's all these negative so-called social media influencers that are driving and wedging things even further apart, right? So before I come to Natima and share more of my thoughts on this, and I want to hear her thoughts, I pull up a clip and I'm going to give you some examples of some social media influencers who have different perspectives. So I'll go ahead and play it right here.
And don't get that twisted. It's really, when God created a woman, he created her for the man.
You gotta understand, men think more towards the future, whereas when you're in your feminine, you're more in the present moment, okay? And so if he is considering making you his wife or being with you long term, then you got to understand that your opinion or your perspective is a reflection of your mentality.
That mask they wore in the beginning, when you finally thinking that, or when they finally start thinking that you're about to leave, they're going to take out that mask. Remember that mask that you first fell in love with? That person pretended, that representative they sent to the date, they put that mask on.
A man making six figures doesn't equal he's high value. He just makes a higher income than other men. But that's not what you should be looking at and determining if he will make a good husband, a good provider. Because just because he makes six figures don't mean his behind is generous.
This one, can I get a period?
Period.
Here we go.
Period.
Can I get another one? Thank
That
you.
part.
So Natima, man, this was just a great combination of different styles, different views. And do you believe overall that the opposing views of different social media influencers is causing, I would say, more of a divide towards relationships today?
Okay, so I agree with you that this argument comes from both sides of the table, but I have to disagree that it is the influencers and more so those that they're influencing. I want us to take more accountability than we are. They don't have an audience and they don't have a platform unless we're the ones consuming what they're offering. One of my favorite quotes, and I think I shared this during our sound check, but one of my favorite quotes is, mindful use is essential to social media consumption. Meaning we have to decide what is it that we're going to ingest and what we're going to apply to our lives and what we just going to leave on social media and scroll right past it. So we can't really blame the influencers for the divide or even the divide and the divisiveness going on in our relationships and in our homes, because they're just giving you the thought, but you follow up with the action. One of the things you said a moment ago that I absolutely love, Mel, you said that they're opinion leaders, but we have to be the thought leaders. We can take their opinion or we can leave it. There is no obligation for us to take what they're sharing and then apply it into our lives and our relationships. The problem is many of us are not self-aware. We don't know who we are. We don't know what we want. We don't know what we're looking for. And so we're just out here grasping at everything and then throwing it against the wall to see if it sticks. Like, oh, well, maybe this will work. Okay, well, maybe what Derek Jackson said will work. And nope, that didn't work. Or let me see what Stephon Speaks says. Nope, that didn't work. Now let me go see what, Ace Metaphor has to say. Nope, that's not working for me either. Because as long as there are influencers, we never have to go inward. We never have to turn the mirrors in and do the work on the inside because we can blame it on them. Well, my relationship failed because she's listening to Derek Jackson. No, your relationship failed because you suck. You're a terrible boyfriend. It has nothing to do with what she's hearing from this man. It has everything to do with what you're not doing in the relationship. And the same goes for the women. So I'm sorry. I disagree that it is the influencers. It is really those that they are influencing. We need to do better at what we're willing to consume and what we just leave on the table. You don't have to eat everything put in front of you. I know I don't. That's my thought.
Very well said.
Carl.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
I hear you. No, I totally, that's a point well taken, a valid point, my sister. It's hard for me, and see, I think there's nothing wrong to get different opinions from the opinion leaders, and it is our responsibility. I'm not knocking that it's not our responsibility, but I think the difference is knowing when to take advice from a credible social media influencer versus a non-credible social media influencer. I think there's a difference. Like, I wouldn't take advice from a Derek Jackson. Now if there's somebody, and I know some people will probably take some of his message, but I can easily find someone else that has the same message as Derek Jackson, but he has the credibility to back it up. So if there's two men, one with credibility and one without credibility, and it's spitting the same message, why I'm going to gravitate towards one that doesn't have the credibility, whereas the other one has the credibility. So it's okay to take different things from different people, but that credibility factor is huge for me personally. But well said. I appreciate your thoughts on that. And I appreciate that. Next, I'm coming to my sister, Mel. I mean, what are your thoughts on this particular topic? Do you think social media influencers are further dividing us, or do you think they're bringing us together?
Sometimes I really hate my sister Natima because she always be all in my head. She just be taking all my thoughts. But no, I have to agree with what she said. Like, we can't blame the influencers for what you take and impart in your life. We have freedom of speech. They can get on there and say whatever they want to say. When you start to want to dictate what they can and can't say, you end up in, you start dealing with censorship. So they can say what they want to say. It's up to you to decide what parts of what they say are applicable to your life and what makes sense. And unfortunately, we do live in a society of people that don't have identity of self. They don't know themselves. They don't know what works for them. They don't know, how to apply these things. So they're just looking for someone to give them the answer. They just want somebody to say, do this and this will work. But here's the problem. you're not dating who they dated. You're not them. So what worked for them or what didn't work for them doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work or not work for you. You know, case in point, if somebody, you know, they get on, they say, well, you know, if you're talking to your man and he blinks 3 times, that means he's lying. Well, now you done went home and ready to cuss your man out because you asked him and he blinking 3 times, but in the back of your mind, you forgot that your man got astigmatism or a lazy eye. You done totally forgot about, you know, the reality of your life because you're so consumed with what these people are saying that you're not figuring out what parts of it are actually applicable to your situation. Right. And that's because you don't know yourself. Or you're even more so, I don't think people go on social media and listen to these influencers because they want course correction. They're listening to them because they want validation. They want someone that's going to validate whatever thoughts they already have in their head. They're not looking for someone that's going to say, you know what, maybe you wrong, sis, or bruh, maybe you overthinking that. They want someone that's going to be like, yep, he did this. You right, sis. Yeah, he did, bruh. She ain't this. That's what they're looking for. So they're going to gravitate to whoever it is feeds whatever thoughts they already have in the back of their mind, instead of gravitating to someone that's giving them something that, like Natima said, is going to make them look at themselves and be like, maybe it's not him. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's not her. Maybe it's me. Maybe I need to change these things. So I don't put the onus on the influencer. You know what I'm saying? These are not, you know, PhD professors that went to school, and they're telling you things from their perspective and from their opinion. And the saying says opinions are like booty holes. Everybody got one. So that's your opinion. That doesn't make it fact.
Right.
You know, and we'll go out, you know, we'll get double opinions on things, and when we really want the right answer, we'll fact check. We'll get second opinions. You just want to co-sign. You just want somebody to co-sign your ideology or your misconceptions. You just go along with it. And we make these people idols, and we try to make gods out of humans. And well, you know, the Bible say, make idols, put no idols before me. So you go out there, you follow these false idols, you end up in false reality.
Yeah. Period.
Ooh, all right, man. Before I come to Natima, I mean, yeah, you're right. They make them gods, man. Can I get an amen?
Come on with the sound effect. Come on with the sound effects.
Yeah. Before I come to Natima, you're absolutely right. I mean, we do have to be more responsible. The problem is, I think collectively we're scattered. The opposing views is further dividing us, because when you see other groups of people, most of the times their alignment is on one thing. You don't hear other groups of people stating that you don't need a man, or just, you know, or you don't hear them, the red pill community, with a majority of them having that thought process. I think what's missing, and I advocated for this on a few of our shows, is media literacy is required. I think media literacy should be taught in middle school, because you, Mel, as well as Natima, all of us, we have great media literacy. So we can see past the smoke screens.
Right.
But a lot of people out there, unfortunately, cannot see past the smoke screens. Therefore, they are taking advice from people thinking that this is their method is the best way of doing things. And the more that they do things, guess what happens? And this is why I'm not taking any responsibility off our followers, but I think the social media influencers have a responsibility as well, because they are preconditioning and helping to program that person's thoughts. So by the time they reach a certain threshold and they keep on doing the same thing over and over again, trying to get the relationship they desire, well, guess what? They won't be able to, because they're stuck in their ways from learning from, you know, our culture. You know, I'm not going to just blame the influencers, but our culture. I mean, right now, for Christ's sakes, our culture is so destructive that it's okay to honor to be a side piece. It's okay to be a side piece instead of a wife or instead of a husband, you know. So I see the both perspectives, I see the both sides, but I'm coming back to you, Natima.
Yeah, no, actually, there was something you mentioned earlier about you know, responding to or receiving rather from someone who's credible. right? And I feel like the dangerous thing with that is we discredit everything a person says simply because they've made a mistake or they've done something wrong or they don't necessarily align with who we think they should be. I admit Derek Jackson, he made a huge mistake. He was talking to women about what they should not tolerate, all while putting a woman through the very things that he was saying they should not tolerate. But it does not discount what he was saying. What he was saying was still valid and very true. And I think that's another dangerous thing that we do. We put people on pedestals and then we strip them and discredit them the minute they do something we don't agree with or what doesn't align with our mindset or mentality. The problem is many of us are leading these conversations with unconscious bias and don't even realize it. In the same way, many of us are responding to these conversations from our own trauma. We're responding from our own pain points. And so what happens is we hear something that justifies or that authenticates, as Mel said, authenticates our position on the matter. And so we gravitate and we support that narrative. And then we tie so strongly to that narrative that we don't want to hear anything else that might contradict or challenge that thought. And that's what's causing the divide. I'm not even willing to listen to the other side because I so strongly believe and align and subscribe to this thought over here. So that really is what's causing the divide, is that we're not willing to hear each other out because, again, we create these barometers and these parameters and these standards and these expectations that are unrealistic because none of us can live up to them. None of us can. If I were to say I'm never going to accept anything my ex-husband says because of the things we went through, I would miss out on a lot of information. Because my ex-husband is an extremely smart and intelligent man. Do I like him? No. But is there value in things that he says? Yes, absolutely. But if I was so closed-minded, I would miss out on really good content coming from him simply because I've made up in my mind he ain't good enough for me to hear no more. And that to me is our issue and why there's such a divide. The divide is I ain't listening to them. I ain't listening to him. I ain't listening to her. I don't care what she said. But really, if we would just listen to understand, listen to comprehend, we could actually resolve a lot of the issues that we're arguing about because we're really saying the same thing. It's just that no one's listening.
True. Okay. Very well said, my sister. I love this, man. I love having conversations like this, man. You know what? Before I come to you, Carl, and then I'll come back to Mel. I feel like the thing is there's not enough positive relationship role models out there. You know, I mean, when the last great show that we had, the Cosby Show, you know, It's just not enough. It's just not enough. So I think until we heal within ourselves and so forth, then maybe that can be the catalyst to make us be aware of things like that. And again, I always stick to the media literacy since I come from a communication background. But a lot of people that subscribe to these different influencers, the sad thing is they just don't have the mindset to know what's smoke screens and what is not smoke screens. They just simply don't. So I think that platforms such as you and Mel's, platforms such as Dear Brothers, Dear Sisters, sometimes we're like David against Goliath. A lot of people are more attractive to the negativity. They're more attracted to the drama. They're more attracted to this divide that's going on right now. And, you know, we have to just come out there and state like, listen, being in love and being loyal, now that's dope. Side piece, no, we have to stigmatize that from my perspective. You know, Carl, man, I'm going to come to you, man. Listen, we all on the couch is having a great conversation. Tell us your view, man, from a man's perspective. What you think?
First thing first, everybody doesn't need a microphone. Some people need to be muted. I just keep it real. There's a lot of influencers podcasts that need to be muted. But I agree with what Mel and the team are saying, you know, as far as the followers and where they own responsibility with that. The problem is, you know, I always talk about this number. There's only roughly 7% of the world that's self-aware. So think about that from a perspective. If it's only 7%, 7 to 10% self-aware, they don't even realize what they're maybe sometimes taking in themselves. The other thing, you know, we have this acceptance of toxic lifestyles, and a lot of people accept a lot of things, and Mel and the team both said it. They look and gravitate to what they're looking for a response. You know, I know someone who wanted a divorce, and they went through 6 therapists till a therapist finally said, "Yeah, get a divorce," because the other ones didn't want her. They were like, "You're crazy. You're getting a divorce for what?" No. So this is real. So again, when we're looking at that, there are people who will look for people who share content with it. As Natima said, there are people who can't hear the other side. So when you put a post, we do it in our group, put a post up, and immediately is, well, and again, this happens more with women and men. I'm just keeping it real.
Okay.
You know, well, what about the men? It's an accountability post for y'all, not for us. We've already addressed those.
Oh, the what isms.
Yeah, right. So when there's a post and you put it in there, the men will sit there and be like, you know what? Yeah, we need to do better. But when it goes the other way, it's, well, what about the men? No, that's not the post. So why are you deflecting on it? So what they'll do is they'll go find somebody who agrees with them and then put it in there. So, you know, it's like I said, you got these guys that run around all the thing. You know, you're not a real man if you're not paying all your woman's bills. You know, even if you're dating, go pay her bills. And if you don't have the money to help her out, you shouldn't be dating. You shouldn't do all, you know, and they're talking like they don't have a pair, like somebody snipped their stuff off. They got castrated. I'm sorry. That's how they're talking. And I really feel like for a lot of them, they probably, and I know some of them have because they've admitted it, but they've cheated on their wives. So yeah, so now you're sitting here putting this narrative out for people to look at, and people are gravitating to it like, oh man, yeah, that's real. That's what you're supposed to do. But no, you were an adulterer. Let's just keep it real. Now your wife kept you, so now you got to put this narrative out, and people are buying that and buying into it, and they're thinking, oh, this is the way it's supposed to be. There's no way, as I tell people all the time, scripture. Where's there in the scripture that says that the man's supposed to pay all the bills? There's zero, none. I've got a theology master's degree. Don't come at me with this stuff. So we're not even having that conversation. And this is why I say to me, it's 50-50. I'm going right down the middle. There's blame on both sides, but people lack self-awareness to understand that they're taking in toxic views. And I agree with you, team. We're saying the same thing, but nobody wants to come to the table. I've been saying for the last 3 years, who's going to wave the white flag first? Who's going to wave the white flag first and say, hey, I'm coming to the table. Let's have a conversation. But because we lack comprehension, because we lack logic conversation, see, everything's emotional. See, emotions, and we all emit emotions to different levels. We have to pull emotions out to have this real conversation because we're lagging. We're lagging. And these influencers, they don't care. They can say what they want and go home and go to bed at night. They don't care what they said. They want to go viral so they can get paid from their sponsors. That's all they're trying to do. You know, you got a fool jumping up and down on stage after he says something and you know, looking like a darn monkey. I'm sorry.
Oh my God. Whoa.
Jumping up and down and screaming and yelling. And I'm like, you're supposed to be a grown man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just keeping it real. How are you a grown man doing this? Like, you know, and again, I go back to when we're validating stuff. The biggest things for me, and you know, I tell people you can challenge anything I put out there number wise. I'll send you the links. Most of them I got memorized. But I try to research and then double research before I put numbers out, before I put data out, before I say anything. I don't know everything, and I'll never subscribe to say I know everything. But I'm going to deal with facts over feelings every single time. And I'm going to give you the numbers. And again, you can argue back and forth. And people will argue me up and down with numbers, but I don't argue. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to debate with you. I'm going to give you the numbers. If you don't want to look at them, go walk in the middle of the street and get run over. I mean, that's what you're doing at that point in time. God. You know, this is where you're heading to. So I don't know how to help you with that. But these influencers, they have a problem. They play a role in it. The followers, they play a role in it. My thing is, when do we have a real conversation? And I agree. And Mel, you hit it nail on the head. The only positive ever family show ever for Black families was Cosby Show. I mean, you had Blackish that was out there for a little bit. That did okay, but the Cosby Show was it. Nothing else. Not Good Times. They were struggling in the projects. Not Sanford and Son. There was no woman around. Not the Jeffersons. They had all the issues and stuff they were doing. But there's never been a positive show that shows it. Nothing on these networks. You got a major producer. You got a major lady who owns her own network. They don't put nothing positive. So there's nothing for us to look at and subscribe to that looks positive. The only positive real life family we have is the Obamas. And you got people hating on them because they didn't feel like he did enough for the black community. He wasn't the black people's president. He was the president of the United States. I wish people would get over that. But that's another topic. But that's it. We don't have anybody else. No, not Jay-Z and Beyonce, not all these other people we got out here. No, they're not role models. We don't have that in our community. We don't have that. So everybody thinks it's cool to go out here and make a bunch of babies. You got these shoot 'em up the club dudes that are irresponsible. And again, it's only 30% of them. 30% of them. Look up numbers. A dude that never got married and has kids, he's got at least 5.5 kids. You know, you have Cannon and Country Wayne. They get a pass because they got money, but they're making single family households. But they're influencers and they're being applauded because they got money. Money don't make you a man. Money don't make you a father. Money don't make you responsible. But we're applauding and jumping up and down behind these people who are making single mothers out of our sisters. When do you stop? And I say this to the ladies. When do you stop being baby mama number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16? How in the world do you sound to be baby mama number 16? I don't get it. After 2, you shouldn't be doing it. But that's what's promoted in our culture. And that's what, like I said, none of these influencers are talking about how to get into a relationship, how to have a healthy relationship, how to have a healthy marriage, how to court. None of them are talking about that. We are. You ladies are on your shows. We're having those real conversations, but we're drowned it out because we're not toxic. I ended on that.
Wow. Okay. All right, Carl, I'm gonna have to hit you with the period, man.
Period.
Okay. Thank you, City Girls. Yeah, I mean, very well said, man. I mean, everything that you stated, man. I mean, you gotta pass the plate around because these are, I mean, I know it's going to trigger a lot of people, but these are the conversations we need to have. And we're going to continue to have them. You know, we're not going to just put a banner on it and everything. But I want to come back to my sister Mel before. I mean, damn, we got comments flowing in like crazy, but I want to get Mel into the conversation. What else you want to add to this topic?
Carl actually touched on what I wanted to say when I was like, we also have to take in, as viewers, we also have to take into account the fact that this is clickbait. This is a revenue stream for these social media influencers. Okay. So when we're so quick, and I say we as a general population, I'm not talking about myself, but when you're so quick to want to subscribe to everything they say, you have to understand that they are putting out what is going to get them the most likes, the most follows, the most content reviews, because this is how they get their money. They're not so much concerned with ruffling feathers and causing conversation and course correction. That's not their main goal here. Yeah, they want to share information, but at this point, they've gotten to a point where this is now a source of revenue stream for them. So if they get on here and they say, you know, women that do this X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 and it gets 1 million views, well, guess what? That is the opinion that they are going to continue to run with because this is what you are not subscribing to. If they get up there and they voice a comment and they only get, 1,000 likes, best believe you're probably not going to hear that point of view again for a long time because it's not getting the views and the clicks that they need. So we have to also be mindful as viewers and followers that what they're pushing the most are the things you subscribe to and buy into the most, whether it's true or false, whether they really believe it or not, whether it's how they're living their lives or not. If that's what you're writing and you're sharing and you're commenting and you're boosting their algorithm and you're boosting their traction, that's what they're going to run with because that's a bottom line. This is clickbait. It's money for them. They're not doing this for the kindness of their heart because they just want to help you. They're not. Right. They're not out here saying, let me just help you be better. They're like, no, help my pocket. Help my bottom line. Help my dollar.
That part. Yeah. Man, very well said, my sister. Oof. Love these conversations. Listen, we have a lot of comments coming in. We're going to pull up some of them because we have to keep time constraint within the show. So, Carl, man, let's go ahead and pull up some of these comments, my man. And that was just the first topic, by the way, my people. This is from Ivy. Okay, there she goes.
What's up, fam? Hey, Ivy.
Hey, Ivy. All right. First one here.
I think nowadays social media influencers can distract things in your life when you value their opinion more than your own. I think we shouldn't spend too much time relying on social media influencers to guide us. If we truly want guidance, then there's nothing wrong with going to a professional compared to someone who's unqualified, no experience, and have no credentials to be giving relationship advice.
Okay, appreciate that. All right, next one here.
From
Speaks.
Daisha. I think that, I hope I said that right. Daisha. She said, "Speak, sis."
Okay. Appreciate you watching, sister. All right.
Those who refer to themselves as influence are by definition narcissists. For example, people like Derek Jackson, who still has a huge following. The problem wasn't what Derek Jackson was saying, because he was saying some good stuff that was able to help women with protecting themselves from men like himself. The real problem was that he exploited women by selling healthy relationships, cheating men, etc. to women while making himself seem like he was a good guy, then calling out the other men and never putting himself on blast. This shows that he's a narcissist and hypocrite, and people should be careful on who they follow for relationship advice. Great topic, DBDS. Yeah.
Facts.
I'll just add this with, like I said, when we saw Derek Jackson, as a lot of men, we sat there and said he's a fraud. And a lot of men were condemned for saying that. And I can't count the screenshots of apologies I got when he got caught cheating from women who called me names. And then how many people blocked me because they didn't want to apologize. But it was real. So as men, sometimes women, the same thing. We'll see something and we'll say something and people won't listen. But yeah, I still don't believe how many followers he has. But anyway, but from my partner Jermaine, he said the majority of people on social media are depressed, so they're more receptive to the nonsense. True.
Facts. Hey, go ahead, Natima. You can come right on in, my sister.
Oh, she muted.
My fault. So there was a comment that you read a few minutes ago, where the person was speaking about us being selective over who we, accept advice and counsel from. And I agree to a degree, right? Like I believe, again, it's on you to own who you'll receive and what you'll receive. It's no different than when you go hear a pastor preach. Not all these pastors are living right, but it doesn't mean it's not something that you can accept from the message. I'm a proponent and a believer that what the enemy meant for evil, God will turn for your good. And so, Derek Jackson trifling, he wrong as hell. However, there were still hundreds of women who are now making better choices, that are now discovering self-love, that are now saying no, setting boundaries, enforcing boundaries because of his advice. So do I think we should diminish everything that man has said? No. But is he someone that I would subscribe to? No. But if I see a reel, I'm going to listen. And then I'm going to take what I can agree with and then leave what just doesn't apply, because I don't care who the influencer is. Not everybody has a perfect message. And here's the last thing I want to share to our DBDS family. Keep in mind that not all vice is experiential. I have never been punched in the face, but I can tell you advice that you don't want to get punched in the face. Like, I don't need to have gotten punched in the face to say it don't look like it feels good. So we really, again, have to mature and become self-aware enough to say, you know what, that's not for me, but thanks anyway. Or, wow, I can really, I can see where that would apply to me. I can see where I can receive that. And here's the other thing, know your path. What path are you on? Are you on a path where you're trying to date with purpose? Then gravitate to people who are actually teaching about dating with purpose and who have the results. Because a lot of us are following people who ain't got no fruit. And that's why y'all frustrating. Y'all following these barren trees with no fruit whatsoever. And then talking about why they got so many followers. Because y'all dumb enough to keep coming back. If there is no fruit, I'm checking out about reel number 3. Like, all right, look, it's been 3 reels. Your life looks exactly the same. Please let me help you become, this millionaire masterclass. Well, where's your millions? No, I'm good. Okay. So we'll do that with these master classes and with these, business people. We'll follow them for years and never make a single dollar off anything they've taught. But the minute one relationship influencer say something and we're like, oh, but his life don't match. Okay, but take the stuff that does apply and move on. So that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to jump in with that.
Oh, appreciate that, sister.
I hope that
Appreciate
helps somebody.
Go ahead, Mel. Jump on in.
I just also want to say we have to be mindful of people that only present one side of the coin.
Okay.
Where they're only giving you one perspective. Because then it should raise an eyebrow. Because if you get on here and all you say is men are dogs, men ain't trash, men are shit, and you just dog men, and you never not once be like, you know what? But there's some women out there that ain't nothing. It should raise an eyebrow to be like, are you really giving genuine help? Because no one side is all the way wrong. There are men that ain't crap. There's women that ain't crap. There's men that are amazing. There are women that are amazing. There are men that cheat. There are women that cheat. Like you can't just be one-sided and just dog one side or glorify one side. You can't just be like Black women are amazing and which are true. We are fabulous, but there are some of us that are a little questionable. So I feel like you should be more conscious of the person and their perspective. And are they giving you both sides of a perspective? Are they explaining to you, the red flags from, a relationship perspective? But are they also pointing out to you the things that you should be looking at internally? Why you are attracting these red flags or why you are tolerating these red flags. So, we are so quick, as we said many times, we turn our ears on and off to the things we want to hear. And the things that we don't want to hear or the things that trigger something in us that make us uncomfortable, we turn them off real quick. We have selective hearing. Well, he said that I shouldn't date a man if he don't open my car door. Okay. He also said, do you know what I'm saying? That you should do A, B, and C, but you didn't hear none of that. You just heard, if he don't open my car door, he ain't the man. But did you hear what he said about you as a female and how you show up and how you present yourself and how you, articulate yourself and how you present yourself in this situation? No, we didn't hear none of that. So we show up in city girl mentality and then be like, well, I'm going to show up like this, but you still have to treat me like that. No, he's treating you how you showed up.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. There you go. Yeah. I hear what you're saying. I hear what everyone is saying. We're going to go ahead and continue with these comments because I'm going to take a few more. Then we're going to take a quick commercial break. But here's going the next one right here.
Love V. She said, indeed.
Yeah, the sisters dropping bombs, man.
Bars.
Sisters are killing it.
That part.
Oh, that part.
Facts.
Yeah, let's go another one.
They aren't the issue. Issue is you. We all must be accountable. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot of folks like to blame others versus taking personal inventory. There will always be someone in these internet streets who will validate one's opinion.
Okay. So here's my question for the panelists. And I hear, and again, I'm seeing from both perspectives here. What can we do as a people? And we'll take a quick commercial break to turn the noise off, because again, there's a lot of negativity out there. There's more social media influencers that are pushing the narrative to break us up more than social media influencers to push us to become better versions of ourselves. So, I mean, one of my solutions was media literacy should be teach and starting as early as middle school. Because right now, just to state, like, for us to just be like, turn it off, go subscribe, obviously it's not working enough because we do have the highest divorce rate. We are the least married. So obviously that's not working. I think media literacy should be a mandatory curriculum in middle school. And when I learned media literacy, I start seeing the smoke screens. I start seeing like, shows like Black, these shows that are not as great as the Cosby Show, like Cookie and the Empire and things like that. I already knew that's fantasy. That was not reality. But so many people that watch these shows or listen to these social media influencers, that is their reality. The fantasy becomes a reality. And then when they implement these seasons ahead, when they grow up, they're programmed this way. And I truly believe that, listen, it's mind control, brainwash. I truly believe in that. You know, so I know it's our responsibility, but what other solutions besides what I do out there that people should look into? I'll come first to you, Natima.
My fault, I was muted still. I think we need to have more discussions about the solutions and less discussions about the problem. I feel like we are all well acquainted with the issues. We know the problem, we know the issue, but we don't have enough platforms talking about the solution, talking about how do we resolve, how do we unify, how do we have healthier relationships, how can we restore marriage in the Black community. We're not talking about that. And even the few platforms that are promoting marriage, they're promoting the superficial parts of marriage. They're focusing more on the wedding, not the actual marriage. So all these Black love sites, they're always just posting the couples who are out doing something extravagant or luxurious. That does not help the average person who can't afford those types of dates or trips. And so I think if we kind of scale down a little bit to say, let's be relatable and let's reach people on all levels, so that we can help everybody, not just the folks who have money and can do these dates and these expensive counseling. Let's help the average day-to-day folks who are trying to date with purpose, who are trying to save their marriages, who are trying to save friendships. We talk so much about relationships and you know, marriages. We don't talk about platonic relationships and friendships. It's a lot of grown women out here with no homegirls. Like that's a topic for another day, but it bothers me to meet grown women who have no friends. And again, it's because we have not learned how to relate on a healthy level with anybody, with our parents, with our children, with one another, with the opposite sex. We are just struggling with relationships. And so I think if we can focus more on how to solve, how to resolve, how to fix, we can avoid some of these, you know, these discord and these divisive discussions that are trending right now.
There you go. This is why DBDS and Diamond Riders are doing their thing. Great solution. I appreciate that. Mel, what ideas you have or solutions that can help bring us together? I love Natima's expertise and advice on that.
I think I'm going to kind of tie into some of what Natima said. I think what we also need to focus on is the process. Okay. So many times the what you hear is the end result. You hear, oh, the marriage, we got divorced, or you know, you hear everything happened at the end. Or, I got $1 million. Like my business. You hear all of that stuff, but nobody explains to you all that you went through, the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, the heartbreak, the hurt. Nobody goes through all of that to explain to you what they had to go through to get here. So we make the end result seem so glamorous that that's all people see, not realizing how dirty and how mucky and how ugly it was to get to that point. And like to point out what Natima says, we show the glorious, happy sides of relationships and marriage. But we don't talk about those rough patches. And I think I was having a conversation the other day with someone and we were talking about, and it was like Michelle Obama was kind of one of the first people to really openly be like, listen, y'all love Obama, y'all think he's great, and y'all think he's fabulous, but for a good, 5 to 6 years, I could not stand him. Oh. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And she was like, I did not like him. Mm-hmm. And nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about those moments when, you love your spouse or you love your partner, but you don't like them every day. And just because you don't like them doesn't mean your relationship is over. It doesn't mean that your relationship is terrible. People, you go through these seasons, you go through things. Just because, you know what I'm saying, you're in a season and your business is kind of just stagnant, doesn't mean that it's failed. You're in the seat, it's going to transition, but we never talk about the process. We talk about how it started and we talk about where it ended. Whether it's great or whether it was terrible, we give you those pieces, but nobody talks about what happened. What was your contribution to whether it was great or bad? What did you contribute, or what did you let slide, or what did you overlook that allowed it to be, X, Y, or Z? We don't talk about the process in all of this. And I feel like if we start talking about the process and really breaking down what things look like on a day-to-day basis, not those, not those real moments, and I say real, REEL, that 60 seconds that you can put up that looks great, but that you edited the video because before the video y'all was arguing and cussing, and after the video you left and walked out the room, but you took them 60 seconds and posted on Instagram. Let's talk about the rest of the other sides of those videos before and after, not just that quick, beautiful moment that you put up to make it look glamorous.
There you go. Very, very, very well said. I mean, and I'll take this. This is a page out of Carl's book, man. But the goal is not to get married, but it's to stay married. That's a page out of your book, Carl. And I totally agree with you on that because, man, the things that wifey and I went through, and I share a lot of vulnerability. In fact, my wife and I are attending marriage college right now with Pastor Paul and Pastor Donna. So shout out to Shiloh Christian Church. I think we need more programs and curriculums about that because a lot of people don't understand the dynamics when it comes to a fruitful marriage, such as conflict resolutions, not putting yourself above the marriage. A lot of people get selfish and they put me. No, this is we, right? So very, very well said, Mel. Yeah, so listen, we're gonna I'm fine with that too, Mel. I see you. So we're gonna go ahead and go to a commercial break because listen, we are overtime. I mean, this is clutch. You know, this is like the fourth quarter, right? Go ahead, Carl.
Hey, real quick, I just want to throw this out real quick when we talk about solutions. So Queen Takeover topic, ladies, attention, developing healthy relationships in the team. Something to think about. For the Queen Takeover on the 10th.
Write that down.
The other thing too is we need to have real reality TV shows. See, that real, not scripted, real reality TV shows.
Break it down for us, man.
So what we need to do is we need to start having long-term marriage couples on our show, promote more on our platform. And some of the things Mel and the team of y'all are talking about, there's some things we got behind the scenes that are coming that are going to address some of those issues in DVDS. We got a subgroup coming and we got some major things, a whole dating roadmap coming. But we have got to promote long-term marriages because there are people who went through infidelity in their marriages and they stayed together. Infidelity doesn't mean you end the marriage. Infidelity means can we get through it, because we need to figure out why the infidelity happens. See, we don't want to address the elephant in the room. You know, he stepped out. Yes, he's wrong. But she's like, well, I feel like sex once every 6 months is appropriate. That doesn't, you see what I'm saying? That doesn't work. You see what I'm saying? He's not paying attention to her, not validating her. She stepped out. No, what she did is wrong, but you're not validating your queen at home. So we need to deal with the issues. What did you realize? Because when you're married, until your marriage is touched by fire, you're not married. See, that's the whole different thing. You're not married. See, when you have that fire hit, it's what you look like after you come out the ashes on the other side. And that's why people who go through fire and they stay together and they do the work, they make it work. But we got to realize, if you're married 5, 10, 15 years, that problem did not fester overnight. It festered over 5, 10, 15 years. And then people want it to be fixed in 5, 10, 15 days. No, it will not. And so stop stating the vows that you're giving, and that we got to address that. We need to break the vows down, literally what they are for that. And it says for better or for worse. Your worse may be worse than the next person next to you, but we don't want to deal with that. The other thing, the last two things real quick, we need to destroy the negative terms. Struggle love, throw it out. We need to break it down. Throw it in the trash can. Toxic masculinity, break it down, throw it away, put it in the trash can. All these negative terms that are out here that we're dealing with, we need to take them, break them down. And the way we break them down is we put solution-oriented goals with those. Take the term and just get rid of it. And just get rid of that out of there. And, you know, like I said, again, and then just back to having more couples on who have gone through fires and putting them at the forefront. And again, I agree. We got to be more solution-oriented based, and that's what we're working towards and what we're doing and becoming. We're having tougher conversations on how we need to do stuff. But but again, we're being drowned out because toxicity is what most people crave, because toxicity equals zero accountability, and they're comfortable with that. It's easy to deflect and say, I remember this lady was talking on a thing. I said, go to commercial. She said, I've never been cheated on. She said, but if I was to sit in the room with women who all were cheated on by their man, she said, I'm going to be agreeing with all the women by the time the session was over. She said, because you start getting sucked into the negative aspects of it, you know, just like your wedding party. All these people out here with 2,500 people in their wedding party, 2,500 grooms and all this stuff, bridesmaids. Those are your accountability partners. So we need to start thinking about who we got in our wedding party when we getting married. Can they hold me accountable when I'm being stupid? Can they hold her accountable when she's being stupid? Who's holding who accountable? Right. And it needs to be, her friends can't just be like, oh, I got your back, girl. No, she can be like, girl, you need to take your butt on home, pack your bag back up, and go on back home to that man and fix that situation. My homeboys need to be able to say, bruh, if you don't get up out of here and get home, don't even worry about it. Give me your keys. I'm driving you home.
Yeah,
and you're going to sit your butt down. We all going to stay up and pray, and we're going to work through the situation. See, that's what your bridal party is supposed to be, not this glitz and glam and for the gram mentality that everybody wants to have. So we can go to commercial.
Man, great. Listen, everyone has dropped some solutions, and that's what we're aiming for, you know. And I love this. This is what we need more of. And listen, we're going to take a quick commercial break. I know it's overtime, but I just want to thank you all, everyone that is enjoying this show, for sticking with us. This is DBDS Live. We'll be right back.
You know, you and I, we talk all the time, and you know, and really, man, I just give, you know, much love and appreciation to you for, you know, founding, you know, DBDS and starting it, man, because it's not normal. You know, there's so much banter back and forth, and you know, just like you and I talked about earlier, you know, before we got on, who's going to raise the white flag first?
Hey, that's beautiful.
Hi, I'm so excited. This is my first Queen takeover. Usually I'm in with the fellas, but I'm excited today.
So once again, I want to thank this amazing panel, and much love to the DBDS family.
Mel, take it away. Mel.
Welcome back to DBDS Live. I'm here with my DBDS sisters, Natima, my DBDS sister Mel V, and my DBDS brother Carl, the accountability coach. And we've been talking about the impact of social media influencers. Listen, before we go to our second topic, to all the family that's watching, shout out to Charles, shout out to James, shout out to my sister Tiara, of course, Ivy, thank you for joining us, Roxana, lovely, my brother Ken Lawrence, Toya, George, Will. If I have not mentioned the other names that's coming into the show down the list, we want to thank you for joining us on this beautiful Sunday. Okay, so we greatly appreciate you. So the second topic that we're going to touch on is why we need to vet who we listen to, right? This is also very important. So let me go ahead and put the ticker on. So I think it's, you know, before I come to the panelists, listen, I think it's very important because, as we discussed earlier, not everyone is going to have your best interests at heart or provide you with substantial advice, right? And this is why I stated previously that a show, like Carl stated, and media literacy should be taught as early as middle school. And this way we can see this past the smoke screen. We can also see who's these self-proclaimed Instagram therapists or dating TikTok experts, whether they're in line with my values or whether they're not, you know. But as everyone stated, there's nothing wrong with taking bits of pieces of information from everyone, as long as it's working to you and adding value to your life, right? Because if you don't do the research, then like with anything in your life, that can precondition you program you. It may put you at something that works against your interests if you're looking for a healthy dynamic relationship. So I'm going to come first to my sister Mel. Why is it so important to vet who you are listening to?
Listen, you vet where you go to eat before you go.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You gonna call, you been in this restaurant, you're gonna look at reviews, you're gonna look at food, you're gonna look at menu before you put that in your body. Before you go to a doctor, you're gonna go look and see. You vet for every other aspect of your life. Why do you not vet what you're putting into your mind? Why do you not vet what you're taking into your spirit? It's just as important. Just like you can go and get food poisoning, or the doctor can botch your surgery, you can be mentally poisoned. You can be spiritually and emotionally poisoned by what you are consuming in your ears and what you are reading and subscribing to. So it baffles me that we will vet and research to tooth and nail for every other aspect of our lives. You go on Shein before you order, you reading 66 reviews, you want to look at pictures, how does it look on it? You will vet everything else, but you will not vet where you're taking your life advice from. Why? That is, the other areas are important, but this is the most important part of it. You are taking in someone's opinions or advice on how you are going to live your life, something that you cannot change. You are going to make decisions that will ultimately affect your life long term.
Wow.
And you're just going with it at a whim. You have to vet these people. And not so much to say that you have to vet every single person that you see on social media, but if you're going to take them word for word and verbatim and really orchestrate your life around what this person is saying, make sure that what they're saying is applicable to who you are, where you want to go, and what you want to do. You can listen, like Natima was saying earlier, you can listen to anyone and find a nugget or a gem somewhere in what anybody says. But are you blueprinting your life off of what these people are saying? And if you are, make sure that this person is giving you the blueprint to the right building, because you're gonna mess around and build a house you don't want to live in.
Wow.
You gotta vet these people, and not just vetting them for what they're saying. Vet them for where they're leading you, because we may not be going in the same place. So what you're saying may not be wrong. It may just not be what I need to hear to get to where I want to go. If I am trying to get to a sustainable 10, 15, 20-year marriage, but your goal is, hey, I just want a long-term relationship, which is very different than a marriage, then maybe what you're saying to me isn't going to work. We're not on the same road. What you're saying is applicable to somebody. It's just not applicable to me. So make sure that y'all are traveling down the same street if you're going to jump in the car with them. You're going to end up in a destination you didn't want to be at because you just jumped in the car. You're going to end up human trafficked out here because you just hopped in the car and they asked where you was going.
Bars.
That's just my thing with the vetting. Make sure not just what they're saying makes sense, but make sure that where what they're saying is going to take you is someplace you want to go.
Man, whew. I don't know, Carl. I feel like I'm in a university. And then I feel like we're going to church right now, man. So listen, everyone is
Period.
Thank you guys. Thank you. So this is well said, Mel. I just want to add to what you just stated, and I love everything you said, because when you don't vet properly and you start following every single step that a relationship coach or an influencer may have told you to do, and you keep on not gravitating toward the relationship you desire, is almost like it's insanity, because you're doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, unless you start exploring and venturing out and seeing what other piece of information that you can apply to you in order to get that particular relationship you want. So I love everything you stated. Natima, I'm going to come to you next. My thing is, it's like when people get these advice from the social media influencers and they hear things like, oh, step number 1, ignore your wife and she'll be more attracted to you, or your girlfriend, she'll be more attracted to you, or make sure that you come home a certain time and then spin her around and then she'll fall back in love with you. They're taking these cues and they're experimenting with these cues, and when those personal equations don't go back to what they're trying to do to get the love that they want, it's not working. So how long should a person stick with listening to that particular social media influencer? Or would you rather say that they should stick around and continue to do more research to see if they can pull something different from that particular person?
That's such a loaded question. But I want to back up before I even answer that. I think before people even begin vetting, influencers and advisors and counselors and all these people, I think you first have to assess yourself. Like, my message is always accountability and dealing with self. Start with you. You have to assess where you are, because if if you're still eating milk, you can't go sit down to somebody serving steak. You will choke and die. Like, you're not ready to consume that. You're not ready to ingest that. So a lot of us don't have a problem receiving for certain influencers. We can't relate. I've read comments in these viral threads where people are so offended simply because they misunderstood what the person was saying. But if you have not evolved emotionally, mentally, energetically, you will take something the complete wrong way, because all you see it is through the lens of your trauma. All you're looking is through the lens of your pain, your own disappointment, your own anger. So you really can't even receive from these influencers because you haven't dealt with you. There are too many broken pieces of you in the way. So that's my advice. Like, even before you begin vetting, before you begin deciding who you're going to follow, whose school of thought you're going to subscribe to, where are you in your walk? Where are you in your journey and in your process? Are you mature enough? Are you emotionally intelligent enough to even sit under certain influencers and receive what they have to say? And to just give an example of what I mean, one of my good friends recommended a book, and she said, but I think you should do some healing before you read it. And it wasn't to offend me, it was to prepare me, because she knew if I was still broken in certain areas, I would miss so much of that would go over my head because I'm not ready. A lot of us are not even ready for some of these more sophisticated and intelligent influencers who really are out here trying to help, because we're still broken. So that's why we gravitate to the petty stuff. We gravitate to the stuff that makes us feel better, not the stuff that's making us do better or think better or desire to be better. We just want to feel better. Just coddle how I feel right now. And so until you get past you, you can't receive from any of them anyway. And when you are ready to receive from an influencer who can have impact in your life, just filter what they're saying. That is it. My mother used to say that about her and my dad. She's like, look, filter what we say, because not everything is for every child. If I'm yelling at all my kids, if you know that you've already done what I said, that ain't for you. Let that go right past you. I'm talking to your siblings. But she's not about to tailor every single thing for one person. No, she's speaking to the room. Those who can receive and who are, who it applies to, they can take it. But if it don't apply to you, just let it go right past you. So I don't even think we have to do better at vetting. We just got to do better at filtering what we receive, what we ingest, what we hear, what we apply, and what we just assume. Y'all ever seen somebody offended on a post? And I'm like, you do know he ain't even talking about you, right? You are not the only woman in DBDS. Carl wasn't even talking to you. Now you all upset. Your whole day ruined, and he wasn't even talking to you. So this is why we got to work on us. Get that stuff out of us first, and then let these influencers help. And subscribe to the good ones. That's the last thing I'm going to say. Subscribe to the ones, like Mel said earlier, that are really giving you two conversations, both sides of the table, two perspectives, duality in their thinking. If you have a one-track mind, I don't want to hear nothing you got to say ever. I need people who think in duality, who understand there's more people on the earth than just you. So are you considering everybody else or just you? No, I'm good. I'm gonna actually scroll right past your reels. But if you understand that we live in a world with billions of other people, then I'm gonna listen to what you have to say. And not everything, but some things. So yeah, that's what that's my advice. Before you vet, assess you first.
All right. Very well said. Very well said, my sister. You know what? Just to share a little quick tidbit of my relationship journey, I was one of those people when I was like 23, 24 years old that I was emotionally immature. And at that time, I mean, I didn't know how to assess myself. So I did reach out to a mentor, and that person plant the seed that I have to say turned my life around. But this guy had credibility around the neighborhood. Everybody knew of him. Shout out to Gumby. You know, that was his name, Gumby. And this guy was part of the Boys and Girls Club, mentoring youth, mentoring teenagers and, you know, young adults. And he changed my way of thinking. And I think some people that can't, I won't say can't, but have a hard time dissecting themselves, but yet they're in that hole and they're asking for someone to throw the rope down there so they can be helped to be pulled up. You know, I could see it from that perspective too, that you can help people in those circumstances, you know. But I love everything you stated. Next, I am going to come to my brother Carl, man. From a man's perspective, do you think it's very important to vet who you listen to? And also, just what piggyback off from the team has stated, do you also have to do the work yourself, assess before you vet? You know, so what's your thoughts on that?
I absolutely agree with that part. The hard part is, are you willing to assess yourself? You know, transparent moment. You know, like I said, married 20 plus years. You know, I'm going through a divorce. I wasn't the one that broke covenant and vows. I still wanted my marriage, but it ended. I didn't blame her, even though she ended the marriage and she was the one that probably. But I looked in the mirror at myself and said, "What could I have done to be a better husband? What could I do to be a better man? What could I do to be a better person? Where did I come up short?" Now, whether the answer was nowhere, if I did this, it would have changed this, it would have done it. But I still looked at different ways that I could be better. So from that time forward, almost 7 years, I've always worked to be a better person every day. So the person I'm with now gets my best version. And I work hard at that. But again, I didn't blame the other side. I said, what could I have done different? Yeah, I was upset. Yes, I was hurt. Yes, I was angry. That's real. Those are real emotions. You get those things. But I also took the time, even to my sons, you know, something I did to my sons. Like I said, we talk about accountability, we talk about reflection. I went to my sons and I typed out things that, hey, this is where dad made mistakes to his marriage, to your mom. I did it not for them to just be like, oh, dad, we're going to get you back. No, I did it so my sons would not repeat the same mistakes. I did it from a point of taking accountability for myself. And I think that's one of the struggles a lot of people do. Because I tell you, when I sit and I watch how people respond to comments, like Najima said, I'll put a post up and somebody will jump in there and it wasn't even directed to them at all. But that's trauma. A lot of people respond from their trauma and they want to run around and say, oh, I'm healed. Oh, I'm over this. Oh, I did this. And then, you know, I'll ask a question. Well, what did you do to do healing? Well, I read this book. Okay, a book's not going to get you there, baby. Right. A meme's not going to get you there. One video is not going to get you there. And see, it's just like you think about the movie The Matrix. When he offered him the red and blue pill, it took him a long time to realize who he really was to the end of the movie. Even though he took the pill and unplugged himself from the Matrix, he had to still do work to build his confidence into who he was and to be able to take accountability, to be able to now listen to his mentor, which was Lawrence Fishburne. You see what I'm saying? So we're a lot of people have just unplugged themselves from the Matrix, but they haven't done any work.
I see.
And so now you don't even have the ability to vet these influences properly, because you don't know even what direction you're going. You don't know if you're going to go through the red door or blue door. And I think that's a struggle for a lot of people. You know, and again, and the team said something too, when you're vetting these people, and you do get to that place, that duality, just because they got one post that talks about the other side doesn't mean they're doing duality. You have to research how much they talk about it, how much they discuss both sides, because one video don't make a fool right. I'm just keeping it real. So you have to be honest with yourself when you're looking at this stuff, because I said, I really believe a lot of people will gravitate to what makes sense. So if I post an accountability post, it's like, oh, well, you know, all women do take accountability. No, the hell they don't. I'm sorry. They don't. But that's the problem. Even though I'm showing a positivity of a woman taking accountability, you know, not all men take accountability.
Right.
You know, we talk about cheating. Yeah, everybody says men cheat. You know, both sides cheat. There's issues on both sides, but it's really even at having that dynamic and understanding why things happen, why you're here, why you're going through these things. What are you really doing? Have you really took time to self-reflect? I remember taking a long 8-hour drive to the mountains. Just drove up mountain, drove back home, reflecting on me and my life at that time at 46 years old. And coming back out of that situation and then deciding for myself, what did I want the rest of my life to look like? And then finding the tools to get there. Because I always say, I was birthed to be a husband. I was never birthed to be a boyfriend. So I had to get the tools to make sure I did it even better the second time when that time comes. And that's what a lot of people are not looking at. A lot of people, I think, fear change and fear spending on change. Change cost. Change cost. And I mean financially. Change cost. Change will cost you your friends. Change will cost you your family members. And I'm talking positive change. I'm not talking about just being a toxic fool out here. But change will cost. And if you're talking about you made changes and you did all that stuff and it didn't cost you anything, you didn't change. You just decided to turn around, did a 360. You didn't even do a 180. You did a 360 right back where you were at before. So if your change didn't cost you anything, you didn't do any work. You didn't do any change. And there's zero chance that you can vet these people out here. Because again, there's one guy, very famous, I'm not even gonna say his name. I had no clue, zero zilch that he was ever married. He's divorced now, ever married.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, how are you an influencer talking about relationships and that you've never mentioned your marriage at all?
Wow.
At all. And it was a 10-second soundbite that caught it. Major influencer. And so when we talk about vetting, if you don't have to go into full details, but were you married? Were you the problem? Was she the problem? What happened? Because how are you teaching people all this stuff, but you don't even talk about a marriage that you were in, whether it was 2 days or 2 years or 20 years.
Yeah.
But again, major relationship influencer. That's a problem.
Yeah. It is a problem, man. And, you know, sometimes it takes more than just to assess yourself. Sometimes when you have someone that won't agree with you like everyone else and really tell you about yourself, just like Gumby did to me when I was young, that was a wake-up call for me. You know, and that turned my whole life around. That's what led me to the road tonight, to the man I am today. So I know there's a lot of, I just think it takes a lot more than just healing. You really have to go beyond that. You know, you have to put yourself out there, meet people that are good role models, you know, whether it's your pastor, whether it's what April and I are doing, going to marriage college with a host of other people within that group and so forth. And I think that will help you, you know, because if not, then you're going to still have that same, Mary J. Blige song in your head, Take Me As I Am. No, you want to be the best version of yourself. You don't want to be at a plateau and be like, take me as I am, when you haven't really reconditioned yourself to become a better version of yourself, right? So I'm going to go ahead and pull up some comments right here. Listen, Charles, shout out to Charles, shout out to Derek, shout out to a lot of people that joined. My sister Danielle. All right, so let's go here. May not get you all, but we'll try our best. First,
okay. You say they aren't the issue is you. I think we had that up there.
Oh, we passed that, right? Okay. Let
yeah.
me go to this one. Did we get this one right here?
Yeah, we saw that one.
I think we touched on that one. Okay. What about
requirements? Ladies, you are treated based on what you allow, and that goes for both parties in a relationship.
Oh, okay, sister. All right.
Since we all know it's the mindset, we have to control what our children watch and hear. That's true.
That is true, but I have to say that it's everywhere. You can listen to negative influencers or right on your refrigerator. They got tablets on the refrigerator. They got tablets on your microwave. They got tablets on your tire. You know, they got tablets everywhere.
Yeah,
even the cartoons. So
even the cartoons
I think
are toxic.
Yeah. So, but that is that's the battle that we're in right now in this world. Unfortunately, that's the reality of things. Next one.
Home has to be the example. Absolutely, Tierra.
Facts.
The team, I've been saying that target solutions. Yeah, target the solutions. Yeah. Yep, Jermaine,
target the solutions. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay.
Behaviors are learned. We must change how we do things for the youth to follow a different narrative.
Okay. I'm going to pull up a few more comments, though, before.
Not Obama. Great point. Relationships go through a lot of seasons.
Yes.
Married couples need encouragement and reinforcement from those who will speak from a place of truth and accountability. Real easy to run, harder to face, and work through the issue. Absolutely. Yeah, most people, that's their struggle love mentality. Oh, I'm out.
That's struggle.
Mel with their power and analogies. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think those that get in their feelings on a post have been hit by what was written and posted. Hurt dogs will holler.
And I'll pull up a couple of posts here. Let's check this one right here.
I used to have real bad anxiety and pretty low self-esteem, personal value. But after following Tony Gaskins and reading his book, he actually helped me to build up my confidence. You have to do your research.
Okay. Tony Gaskins is a huge social media influencer. Drop nuggets. Yeah, absolutely. What's this one?
Human beings by nature are simple, superficial, and content created for great relationship advice are few compared to lots of frauds who push women to remain single or for men to lead with their wallet. Yeah, we are anti that, but yeah.
Yeah, we are anti that. Okay. Listen, we appreciate the comments, everything. We're going to take one last commercial break. And when we come back, that's right, it is our Jerry Springer moment. So listen, sit tight. Make sure you get yourself a glass of wine, a cigar, and kick back, and we'll be right back. Okay, my peoples. All right. Welcome back to DBDS Live. I am here with my sister Mel V, my sister Natima, my brother Carl, the accountability coach, and we've been talking about the impact of social media influencers. And if you enjoyed this, amazing topic, make sure you tune in to our channel, our platform, which is Dear Brothers, Dear Sisters, DBDS Live, right on YouTube. Also, you can catch us on the Pure Moment Network, which is available on a Roku device as well as Amazon. So shout out to my brother Hazardous for that. You can also listen to us on all the other stations that we have going on right now, which is Spotify, Amazon Music, Roku, Radio Public, just to name a few. You know, so if you enjoy these meaningful conversations, please check us out. Okay, so listen, it's about that time for our Jerry Springer moment. What an amazing show. Listen, I don't want the show to end. You know, I want to continue us to pass the plate around, you know, but the first person I'm coming to for our final thoughts is Mel. Tell the people who's watching your final thoughts for today's show.
First of all, amazing show. Great topic. We could be here all day. I think I'm going to give my Jerry Spring moment is, you know how you go in the store and they have frosted glass? And the frosted glass, it gives you can see just enough on the other side. You can see the silhouette, but you don't see all the details. You don't see all the definition. You just see just enough to appease your curiosity. So my advice to you is step away from the frosted glass. Find you some Windex clean, clear glass, transparent, that you can see through when making these decisions on who you want to listen to, who you're following, the decisions you're making for your life. Step away from that frosted glass, step in front of a mirror and take a clear, good look at yourself, what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish, where you're trying to go, and make sure that the advice that you're getting from a clear perspective and you're not looking through the frosted glass. That's all I got for y'all.
Thank you, my sister Mel. And next, I'm coming to my DBDS Queen Takeover sister, Natima. What an amazing show. Mind-blowing, by the way. What are your final thoughts for today's show?
This was such a dope show. So thanks again for having me. Thanks for allowing me to come on and be myself and say what I want to say. And know that Carl has my back in case anybody sliding my DMs with an attitude. But I wrote down just a couple of things that I wanted to share with our DBDS family and, of course, to our gems and gents who are supporting from the Diamond Rider platform. Hey, y'all. Hey, scroll responsibly. Understand that social media is a tool. It is a repository. It is a bunch of opinions in one place. Not always facts are available. Not always data that has been validated and verified is available. And so because of that, you need to scroll responsibly. Don't weaponize social media. Don't use it as an excuse for poor behavior, to be argumentative and combative, to hate men, to bash women. Like, let's stop using social media as the excuse, okay? Let's be accountable, hold ourselves accountable. And as Mel said, have that mirror-facing moment, because it will teach you which people to follow, where to subscribe, and where to just let it go if it doesn't apply to you. The other thing I wanted to say is limit your intake and limit your consumption, because sometimes social media, there's so much negativity and there's so many conflicting opinions that all of a sudden from your scrolling, you're in a bad mood, you're in a bad place, you're in a bad headspace, and then you're taking that home to your relationship. So when your man or your woman asks what's wrong with you, you don't even know how to articulate what's wrong, because that's all the energies that you've allowed into your space from scrolling. So really limit your social media intake, especially when you got issues in the relationship or you have something going on at home. Really detach and be focused on that, because social media can do more damage than good. There is a lot more negativity out there than there is positivity on these media outlets. So that's the only other thing I wanted to say. Be mindful of your objective and why you use social media. If you use it for your business, get on and post your business and get off. If you use it for advice, vet the followers and the people that you're following and subscribing to. But at the end of the day, it is on you. You are responsible. You're the end user. So that's all I wanted to say.
Very well said, my sister. Scroll responsibly. I love that. And Carl, man, it just keeps getting better and better. What P. Diddy said, can't stop, won't stop. But what are your final thoughts for today's show, my brother?
I think both Mel and the team are just keeping it real, and everything that they said tonight, just like I said, the constant nuggets and bomb dropping that need to be done and said. I think the biggest thing is, yes, social media, take it for what it is. And at the end of the day, Tima said it best, minimize what you're doing. One thing I notice is, like, I'll have people send me constantly negative type videos, negative type posts. A lot of times I don't even read them. I just put a click to it, check it, and keep it moving. I don't even absorb that stuff. And if that's what you're doing, there's no way you can ever get into a positive, healthy relationship. So limit what you're watching. Again, if you want a healthy relationship, find people who talk about a healthy relationship. Not talking about 50-50, not talking about who's supposed to pay for what, not talking about where to go for a date, not listen to people who are talking about the rough edge stuff. You know, hey, you're not going to like your partner every day. You're not going to be able to communicate. Communication is key. You may not want to communicate with your partner, but you have to. You're not going to want to do all those different types of things because, again, nobody wants to deal with the ugly in a relationship, but healthy relationships have ugly in it. It's just what you do with the ugly and how you deal with it. And if these people are not promoting that and they're just doing a bunch of stage jumping around and screaming and hollering and yelling and all this stuff and calling each other the B word, the N word, and all that stuff, why would you even want people like that to be influencing what you are as a person and in your life? And why would you want to take that toxicity into your system? So definitely bet better with that. And then the other thing, like I said, take a look at yourself. Take a look at yourself at the end of the day. Take a look at yourself and who you are as an individual. And if you're not attracting what you really want, take a look in the mirror. How could you be better? How could you do better? There's nothing wrong with that. We are all have the ability to get better each and every day, but are you doing that and taking the steps to do that?
Very well said. And listen, man, to the panel, amazing panel. I want to thank everyone for coming on to the show today. Before I share you with my final thoughts, please, at the bottom of the ticker, there's www.coachingwithcarl.com. Make sure you get his book with a list of other great, amazing writers. I'll pull it right up on the screen. Such a great book. Title, You Say You Love Me, but Do You Respect Me? And if you get a copy of his book, it will be autographed, so there you go. Have it right there. All right. So listen, my final thoughts for today's show is that it's important to be mindful of who you are following, because social media can also be a storehouse of helpful, reliable resources and information from social media influencers. However, I feel like there's a few that are authentic when it comes to relationship advice. There are a few positive coaches out there that actually are out there to help the community. So this is where you have to do the significant research and assess yourself, as Natima stated. I feel like this is why you also have to hold yourself accountable as to who you follow and who you listen to. But before you even invest your time, your energy, just make sure you are, before you crave that guidance, just make sure you are doing the work to heal yourself, as we talked about, whether it is reading as part of your journey, relationship, self-development books, or seeking out a professional counselor or therapist, or even a pastor, or even attending platforms or going to marriage college or listening to the Diamond Writers or DBDS live. But whoever you decide to listen to, just make sure that their beliefs are actually adding value to your life to become a better you, which in turn will attract a better partner. So once again, I want to thank this amazing panel and much love to the DBDS family.
Take it away, Mel.
That part.
Yes.